Just trying to help you.
Myself restraints and the
I'll mute the room, the thing keeps going. All right, perfect.
Ready?
Yep.
Meeting call to order. Today is Tuesday, February 3rd. It is now 6:06. Town Council meeting in the Town Council Chambers, 1170 Main Street, West Warwick, Rhode Island. Jay, will you lead us in prayer?
We ask for the wisdom to make good decisions, to speak with confidence and listen with compassion as we work together to create a better way of life for the people of West Warwick. Amen.
Mark, will you lead us in the pledge of allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Councilman Dennison,
Here.
Councilman Lichardi is absent, Councilman Messier,
Here,
Council Vice President Williamson.
Here.
Council President Goslin.
Yes. And for the record, Councilman Charlie had a surgery late last week and he's unable to attend tonight.
Quorum is declared. Consent agenda, approval of the minutes from the January 20th, 2026 Town Council meeting.
Move the minutes.
second.
Moving second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Business licenses, request from Friendly Sons of St. Patrick's for a parade license for March 15th, 2026.
Move the license.
Second.
Moving second, any discussion? Any public discussion on the parade? Can't believe it's already here. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Snow will be gone by then.
I don't know.
I'm not sure. Yeah.
That'll be tough. So,
Appointments and resignations, request for appointment or reappointment to the Juvenile Hearing Board for term ending December 2029, 3 positions.
So I'll move the item for discussion.
Second.
moving second, discussion. I know there's Virginia DeMasi, she was actually on the board prior to. Anna Marie Raimondo has served many years on the board along with Virginia, and I'd like to see them two reappointed, and then we have an alternate position available with Kenneth Naylor and Glenn Turilli both putting their names forward. I know Kenneth Naylor was here last meeting, just introduced himself, and I think Glenn is here too if he wants to introduce himself. So it's just the council have any other questions, comments?
Not other than it's nice to have a number of people interested in participating. I mean, that's not always the case, so.
Glenn, would you like to come up and introduce yourself? I know Mr. Naylor did last meeting.
Good evening, Glenn Torelli, 450 Providence Street, West Warwick.
Mr. Naylor just walked in too, so he can come up and to introduce himself again. Sorry about that.
Step off.
No, you're good. Okay, go ahead.
I have my reasons for the board and my experience. Right. Say that now.
Just tell us, okay, a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Good evening, Mr. President, members of the council. Thank you for the opportunity to be here this evening. I believe there's no higher calling than public service, which led me to my career as a police officer 22 years ago, beginning with the town of East Greenwich, where I still am employed. For the past 5 years, I've been in charge of the juvenile division, which has been extremely rewarding and sometimes trying. My responsibilities include overseeing all juvenile investigations, serving as a liaison to the Juvenile Hearing Board, bringing cases forward, family court prosecution, supervising 2 school resource officers, and coordinating youth-focused programs such as summer camps. This experience has provided me with a comprehensive understanding of juvenile matters and the importance of fairness, consistency, and professionalism when working with juveniles. My reason for wanting to be on the board is my continued passion for public service. Juvenile hearing boards are a valuable service as they provide early intervention and guidance for young people in critical stages of their development. I believe juveniles deserve guidance, not just punishment. Everyone makes mistakes, especially when they are young. I want to help turn these moments into learning opportunities for the juveniles and their family. I also believe in being fair, respectful, supportive, while still holding people accountable for their actions. Serving on the Juvenile Hearing Board would allow me the opportunity to make a positive difference was local youth. And I can remember when I first started prosecuting in family court, a judge told me that if you can get through to one person, that's the greatest accomplishment. So I find that to be a rule of thumb when it comes to this.
Any questions for Glenn? Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And Mr. Naylor, I seen you walked in. If you want to just come up and we can reintroduce yourself. I know you did briefly at the last meeting. I know you walked in late. We do have two.
Going through it.
We do have two candidates that applied for the alternate positions, so.
Yeah. Thank you guys for giving me a couple moments to address you guys. Gonna come down a little bit and sorry for my tardiness. I didn't have anything prepared. At the end of the day, it's pretty much what I said last time I came before you guys. The juvenile system I was in, I have been before the judge numerous times for my academics back in middle school, which transpired over to high school a little bit. The system worked for me. There was an impact that was made on me. I was given opportunity to fix my mistakes by the people before me that I was going before. It's something I'm very passionate about. We can go on about why I got into situations I did. But at the end of the day, I believe I've grown as a person, as an adult. Look, in high school, I went before Mr. Alves more times than I can count. Nothing drastically crazy, but he always spoke to me more than just a child, more than just an adolescent making mistakes. And I think that's what's needed. It's not all about consequences. It's somebody that is there to listen, somebody that they can look at that's been in that safe situation. Look, I don't have a college degree. I finished bottom 15 of my class, quite frankly, and I'm proud of that because I'm doing okay, quite frankly. And my morals are intact. And that's all I can really do. And I've stayed out of trouble since then. So that's it. I just want to get back. And it's, like I said, something that's very personal to me because I went through the system. And it seems as though you guys have both two credible candidates here for the seat. And I know you guys will make a good decision, whoever it be. And it'll make a real impact on the students or the kids in this community. So that's all. If you have any questions.
Thank you. Any questions?
No questions.
Thank you to both of you for coming on. I know a lot of times for these boards, people don't come out, so I think it's super important. Obviously, we can't show all you guys here tonight, but I think for whichever one of you doesn't get on, I want you to maybe keep your name out there because you never know when another spot's gonna open up. We need good people in town to continue to run for these boards. Thank you both of you for coming out.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Yeah, I just want to jump in real quick. So about 2 months ago, Mr. Naylor called me. He's one of my constituents and we had a very long conversation about his desire to serve. And I had some questions for him and he answered them to my satisfaction. And I pledged my support for Mr. Naylor at that point. I am a little concerned at how this process played out. I know it was nobody's intention. 2 weeks ago, when I was unfortunately not here for the meeting, I know this got pushed off to this meeting due to some concerns. One of the candidates would not have been able to been voted on last time. And that's understandable. But since that time, and Mr. Torelli, I can tell you're honestly a fantastic candidate as well, which is what makes this difficult. But since that time, you've applied. And, you know, I went back and looked at the applications and unfortunately, the timing just is off for me. Mr. Naylor, he applied back on December 28th. I'm sorry, December 30th. Ms. Damazzi was December 28th. And Anne-Marie Raimondo back on the 14th, which were all prior to when this was going to be heard and voted on originally. So my only real concern is the fact that your application came after that. And I feel like we'd be doing a disservice, in my opinion, to the process if we followed through in selecting you for this board. Honestly, I apologize because looking at your application, you are obviously very well qualified. And in my mind, if that had come before January 20th, I would have had a very, very difficult decision. But obviously, since Mr. Naylor reached out to me and he's one of my constituents and we had this conversation a couple of months ago, my support is going to go for Mr. Naylor tonight.
Any other comments? I will, comment.
No, go ahead. I mean, the timing, I agree with you. It was an issue when we met 2 weeks ago. Quite honestly, the fact that I didn't know that we had a resignation on the agenda until the agenda came out. So Mr. Naylor knew that and applied. That seems a bit unusual to me. So that's a concern. As far as Ginny and Anna, I mean, they're just reapplying. It's a reappointment. So that's sort of a no-brainer, and the timing of that is whatever it is. So I agree with you. We have two very qualified candidates. And I applauded 2 weeks ago when Mr. Naylor came and spoke to us, because we, as Jay just said, we don't get a lot of people that actually show up when they're being appointed. So I think that's important. So the fact that Mr. Naylor's application, and it was on the 28th, you said, which is nearly 2 weeks before I even knew there was an opening as a town council person, seems unusual to me. So the fact that we would appoint someone on the same time that we're hearing a resignation, that timing.
Well, I think it was well publicized that there were reappointments coming up.
Correct.
And Mr. Naylor's application simply could have been construed as for one of those positions.
Well, then, yeah, I mean, I'll reappoint those two people. I
No,
feel strongly
I
about
agree with
that,
you.
so,
I agree with you.
Yeah,
But, I feel we'd be doing the whole process a disservice, because had I been here last meeting, I'd say with pretty much certainty that Mr. Naylor would be on the board. Because at that time, there were 3 candidates for 3 positions. This got bumped down the road, and now there's 4 for 3, which is an unfortunate situation, but it's what we're faced with.
So time-wise, I agree with both, but one thing I personally do is try to reach out to the chairmans of the boards and for their opinions. And I did reach out to the chairman of the board, who has been a chairman. He's a DC, he was retired DCYF. And I asked his opinion and if he can look at both applicants and look at both resumes. And he did get back to me, and he would like to see Mr. Tellelli appointed as the chairman because of his experience and professionalism in that role. So that's what I want to go with, is from the chairman of the board, giving me his recommendation. And that's my personal opinion.
Can I ask if the chair had conversations with either of the candidates?
I don't think he did. I think he looked at the resumes and that's it. Unless he did it, all reached out to anyone. No, he did.
Did we?
I reached out to him.
I apologize for not knowing the process cold, but was there an application deadline for any of this?
So the way that you guys handle vacancies or reappointments is we always make sure that the reappointments are on the agenda previous to the appointment happening. The way that they were posted on the agenda were 3 appointments and reappointments, because we had 3 positions that were coming up.
Okay.
In the meantime, during that period of time, Tom Oates had resigned and Mr. Naylor had submitted his application.
When somebody resigns, then usually we have a little bit of, I mean, part of that is also, we do have some time in between, so we don't have people applying for boards too, so it's tough to judge it, right? I mean,
Yeah, so technically the appointment was already advertised at that point. If Mr. Oates had reapplied,
yeah,
then,
it would have been.
right. But he happened to resign in the meantime, which we can always change that policy, that if someone resigns, that we advertise it for an additional
And-
period of time.
And for the record, the chairman of that board didn't even know Mr. Oates resigned until the council meeting last meeting. So the chairman didn't, he got a letter, but it came by the time he opened it, it
I mean,
was
I
already on the agenda.
I think having time to know, because I think that sometimes with these boards, if there's people that are reapplying, sometimes people might not put their name in. Because maybe they're happy with the people that are on the board, and sometimes when a spot, same thing with a council seat or any of the boards, I think sometimes when a spot opens up, more people can come forward. I mean, again, it's not an issue we have a lot, because we have a lack of people trying to sign up for a lot of these boards, so I don't think it's something that's gonna come up a lot of times, but
No, I
having
agree.
a couple extra weeks to have somebody put their name in, I don't think is the worst thing in the world.
I didn't have any questions for either applicant, but perhaps now I'll ask you the same question, if you wouldn't mind answering. how did you come to the knowledge of the position being open and how, and what was the driving factor in saying, oh, this is the time to apply?
I was actually going to volunteer that information. I really need a hobby, first of all. So I look on the town website and I see vacancies and boards. And in the middle of that page, it had 3 openings for the juvenile hearing board. Now, as far as the reappointments, that's something I don't know about. I know that people do get reappointed to boards. After that, again, need a hobby, I checked the minutes that were filed to the Secretary of State's office and saw that there were 3 positions on the agenda. So with that, I submitted a letter of intent to the president, and I was called by Madam Clerk, emailed, I should say, and asked to submit my application, my BCI check. So that's how it came forward. Fairly self-digging, I guess, on my own part. I was fortunate enough to find it.
Thank you.
Hope that helps.
Yeah, it does. It does. I'm trying to be thoughtful here in recalling how I came to know about Mr. Oates's resignation. I seem to, and quite honestly, I haven't spoken to Tom since the last time he was here, but I seem to remember knowing about this coming down the road far sooner than the last meeting, the last time the agenda was put out.
So I think that Tom had shared probably
Did
with
he email the
yourself and
group?
some other people. He didn't email the group, but I think he had shared with a few select people that he was considering resigning because of personal issues.
Okay.
And
And then he
So
sent
I
a
think-
letter,
I,
which was that week of the week of that council meeting. correct?
and I solicited that letter from him because I knew he had the intention of not reapplying. So I asked him for an official letter of resignation so the council could appoint. I did know that it was his intention.
Okay.
So I did
'Cause
solicit that.
I'll,
letter
I'll be
from him.
honest, my intentions last meeting until a couple of days before was reappointing all 3.
Typically, that's, unless there's a concern, that's typically what we would do.
And again, I found out through Tom Oates directly, that he was resigning. So that's where it came from. He gave me a heads up and said verbatim, he would like to see someone young on there. And he said, I'd like to see you apply. He's also known that I have had interest in it in the past for this board going years back. So that's kind of where it came from. And honestly, last meeting, I just went online to look at the agenda and I was kind of shocked to see myself on there. I had no intent of coming. Maybe 30 minutes prior, I drove over here because I just saw the agenda. And that's how I found out. Hope that helps.
I will actually share that, I talked to the town manager and asked him to look at, because I think you are both very well qualified for very different reasons. I mean,
Right.
Mr. Trilli, you have a wealth of experience in the system on one side, and Mr. Naylor, you have it on the other side. And I think both have great value. So I have asked the town manager to take a look at if there is a way to have you both involved, and that will take a little time. So it has allowed us to take a look at the charter and what the rules are and how things work. And I think there's a residency requirement. There's a laundry list of things that are required to actually have. And I assume we vetted both individuals as far as that goes. I don't know.
Yeah, address from,
How long they've lived here,
well, how long, I don't think that's on the application.
because I think that's one of the items that is required, as well as 3 years or 3 years within the town. Okay, yeah, so I would love to see you both involved. And as I said, I've asked the manager to find if there is a way to do that. That doesn't help us tonight. So I'm hoping
What
that,
is-
and Mr. Turilli has actually been very diligent in talking with us, me, about a position, just because he does want to give back. Didn't know that the juvenile hearing board, which is clearly right up his alley, was going to become available. But we've talked about rec committee, and we've talked about, I mean, a whole wealth of things that he has looked to be involved.
Now, knowing that you've discussed with the manager the possibility of looking into having both gentlemen serve, what is that process looking like, time frame wise?
It depends on how we want to proceed. It could be as lengthy as the requirements required in changing an ordinance with the 2 readings and then change. It's my understanding, I haven't been to the juvenile hearing board in at least a dozen years as a witness, that it's not as formal as one of our many other boards where there's public voting. It's more discussion and coming to a conclusion and recommendation on a juvenile who has already admitted guilt on what the best penalty or rehabilitation process should be. So it's not as formal as a board that would require an odd number of
That's what I
people
was gonna say, but
to
yeah.
to break ties. So the Council Vice President brought it up earlier this afternoon. My intention was to speak to our solicitor and see how that would look and what the best process would be to move forward, if it's an ordinance change or.
And it's a 5-person board right now?
5 with 2 alternates.
Right. Okay.
Yes. And actually, we even had some confusion as far as who are alternates and who are not
Yeah,
alternates.
so that's my question, because a lot
Yes.
of times the spot opens up, the alternate moves up, so.
You have to be appointed either as a full member or an alternate. If the full member resigns, retires, dies, then the council has a choice of taking
An alternate.
the alternate, put them into the position because you're supposed to serve on a 5-year term. And then you fill the other one.
So
If
the
you
alternate-
don't- If you don't take the alternate, you're not mandated to take the alternate, you could take someone else.
So wait, but when you take an alternate, we can't, is that why we didn't have any alternates for the name board? Because we can't move an alternate to a full-time.
Well,
position?
No, you can't.
So right now on the website, it shows
Unfortunately,
6 members and 1 alternate.
which is not what it is.
Which should not have been. If I am correct, Mr. Oates should have been the second alternate. He was the last one on as an alternate. So my imagination would be.
So Tom was an alternate, he wasn't?
It's not listed yet.
It's not clear.
That's why
That's
we're
the
trying to
case. It should
clarify
have been,
that now
yes.
and making it
Yes.
this 7th position an alternate position. Right now, Jess Rubery is an alternate, and there's still 5, the other 5 members have been on there for a very long time, including the A and B here. So there's been no movement there. Jess Rubery's been on since 2017. She actually replaced Tom Oates the first time. And then Tom Oates came back in 2021.
So it's a 6-member, but it's 5 with a 1 alternate?
It's 5 and 2 alternates, but that's not how it's listed on our
Okay.
website. So I was confused. That's part of my
All right.
need to.
If I can make a
actually, my
suggestion.
words to the town manager were, can you please educate me on how this works? So,
I have a suggestion as well, so I want to hear
You,
yours.
you have the right, as long as the board can meet, when it has a quorum, again, it can do its work, all right? You have time to address any changes you may want to make as far as putting more people on. So if you want to go from 7 to 9, and I don't know if you want to have 5 full, 5 to 7 full members or alternates, however you want to do it.
I think the only problem with too many is then you
Well,
get a
that-
quorum, right?
Well, that's the challenge is how much is enough? And,
Well,
do you
Those are
want to?
Conversations I think we want to have with the police officer in charge. of
Right,
the
but what I'm saying is, as long as the
And chairman.
business of the board can go forward, you have time to change what you
So
want to
can this
change.
board, it's not like the council, right? They can meet with less because there's not a quorum because there's no voting. How does this, like obviously the council, if we have 2 people, we can't meet.
Normally, you have to have at least 3,
Even with this, even though it's
right,
less
because,
formal. without
because,
voting.
because there's gonna be a recommendation made in the, whether or not the parents and the individual juvenile are gonna take it. If there are 5 people and 3 people say one thing, 2 are gonna say the other, you really just don't want 2 people making a decision. It's always better to have, a majority of the sitting board. So if you have 5, it's not really a quorum issue, it's more of a majority on how you're going to deal with, I want to say this, not meaning, but whatever sentence or recommendation is made for that particular juvenile. you
I'm
would
not
want a
sure we
majority.
would need to go to a 9. I mean, to add,
just an op- it was an
to add
option.
another alternate, again, alternates aren't going to opine each time because they're not going to be needed. They're going to perhaps be there and maybe with your experience, are they there? Do alternates attend each time?
So
Can I make
Oh,
a
you may,
recommendation?
yes.
So the way that, I only had a few minutes with this with Mark before the meeting, so unfortunately I didn't get a long enough chance to look at it. However, the way that our ordinance is written right now is for a 5-person board with 2 alternate members. Even though it has been functioning as a 6-in-1, it appears, I don't know how far back, I didn't have enough time to research that. But if, in lieu of the way that the ordinance is already written, if you guys wanted to wait to appoint, I don't think that they can do it tonight the way it's drafted on the agenda, to vet that, but I think that if you wanted to give, the alternate that's currently seated the opportunity to become a full-time member or first right of refusal, and then you would have, if she did, you'd have 2 alternate positions that you could then fill, so it would fit the ordinance, everyone would be appointed.
So can I
No,
just,
but we have 6. No,
No, you don't.
no, we
Yeah.
have, so I just want to point out, we have 3 that are not up for reappointment tonight that are already on the board. Okay, and then you have
Full members.
full members.
yes,
Then you have Virginia DeMasi, Anna Marie
So
Raimondo.
that's 5, that's the 5
That's
full time.
Full members.
that would be 5 full members.
You're right.
And then you
Yeah,
have
because
Jess
Tom would have been
Rubery
an
as your alternate. To fix this, number 7, because Jess Rubery was appointed in 2017. That was before Sarah's time,
Yes,
and she was an alternate.
Right.
Now, Tom came back and I forgot if somebody left or whatever happened, Tom came back and he should have been the alternate because the other 5 members were already members. So again, Tom resigned to me as an alternate. So this 7th position, whether it's Kenneth or Glenn, that it would be the 7th alternate position, and it's corrected at this time. And in that way there, our website can be corrected and appropriately.
so can,
Sorry, that doesn't solve your problem.
no,
then.
so can I make a suggestion that we actually reappoint Ginny and Anna tonight?
Second. Oh, you-
Yeah.
oh, you said.
Yep, if I can make that suggestion.
Oh,
Yep,
suggestion,
Yep,
sorry,
The-
motion, I thought it was.
yep, not yet. I will in a minute maybe, but we reappoint Ginny and Anna tonight. And I think we have some homework to do, including a conversation. So Jess would stay where she is. Let's find out, what is the appetite to change the ordinance to actually have a 3rd alternate person?
I mean, I would talk to the juvenile hearing officer and the chairman. I mean, I don't even know where they meet. If it's
The way I'm
gonna get
looking at it-
overcrowded.
The way I'm looking at it, so we have 2 highly qualified candidates who really want to serve the town. I think we need to support that.
We're foolish not to let. them-
Right.
Yes, and that's why I caused the problem I did today. So I apologize and I apologize, but I just think
But
that that's
unless
the
you,
right,
unless you change your law,
yes.
all right? What you have is 5, hopefully this is, you got Ventura, Demasi, Banks, Raimondo, Simpson are supposed to be the full members. The alternates were Rubery and Oates. Oates has resigned. So you have 1 spot open
Right.
for an alternate. If you're going to change the law, you can address the issue that's presented tonight with the 2.
I would rather change the law and appoint them at the same time.
Then you
But
can,
I
you
mean,
can,
that-
then
that's a-
that's,
that-
but
that's a-
again, you can do that because as long as the board has enough members to sit and do their work.
And here's something else we might not have thought about is I was under the impression this was for a full seat, not an alternate. And I'm pretty sure you 2 gentlemen thought the same.
I did.
So I don't know
So
if
did I.
this changes your interest in the position or not, and that's between yourselves, you don't have to state right now whether it does or not, but you were here believing you were hopefully being appointed as a full member of the board, but now it's an alternate position. And if that doesn't suit your fancy, then perhaps maybe this is a moot point. I don't.
And I guess that will go back to the second question I just asked. Do alternates go to each meeting? They might not quote unquote vote on an outcome, but I assume they can have input, they can speak, they can.
Like I said, I've been told that everybody who attends actively participates in the
Yeah.
discussion.
Okay,
There is rarely, and they said they couldn't remember anything of a formal vote. It's just a discussion and a group agreement on
The recommendation.
on a recommendation.
And
to move
alternates
forward,
do indeed participate in those
So
conversations.
they're active.
Yes, yes. So that's, I think that's important that we,
Yeah, without a
that
full
people
vote,
know
there's
that.
really not, there's not really a lot of differential between an
No.
alternate and a
No,
regular
I
full
would
member
agree with that.
What I will say is I was going down the same road that you went down. I think we should probably reappoint the two tonight, A and B, and then perhaps table this other part until we can figure out an addition to the board.
Tell me, so the ordinance, tell me what the process, Sarah, please.
So it would be 2 readings. So we'd have to come up with the amendment that we want, and then, it would just go before first reading and second reading. So by the first meeting in March, you could be ready to make an appointment. Sorry.
You have to wait
it's
20 days. Yeah, so it'd be,
Um,
so maybe we could squeeze it in.
maybe the end of March, possibly. I'd have to look at the calendar, because I think it's March 3rd.
Yes, it is the first meeting. So that would be 14 days later would be St. Patrick's Day. Is that a good idea?
Actually,
No,
Yeah.
no, so it would be 20 days after the March 3rd meeting.
Yes, I
because-
know that. Yeah, so,
So if our next meeting is February 24th, if we had first reading on the 24th, second reading on the 3rd.
we still have 23, it's not till the 23rd that it takes effect,
Yeah,
but
so it would really be the first meeting in April.
that we would make the appointment.
Which I don't see as problematic unless either one of you do.
Again, before we change that, I'd like to
Yeah.
have a conversation with the juvenile police officer and the chairman. I mean, I don't know. I have never been in the room meeting. I've never attended any of their meetings, because to me, it's private anyway, in my opinion. So I've been into every other board meeting in this town, but just not that one. So I don't know how it functions. And if anybody knows how it functions better than us, would probably be the town manager, the chief, and that officer who's in charge. And if you got 8 people in there, I don't know. I just
Well,
want to make sure
that's-
they're okay with that.
That's
too.
assuming that 8 people show up instead of the 7 that would come anyway. So one person, I don't think makes, and I do believe if we have what we feel are 2 qualified candidates, asking either one of them to not be involved makes no sense to me, because we're always,
Listen,
yeah,
the more applicants, the better, right?
Right.
I just had this conversation with HR back there earlier this week. I can't believe the amount of applicants we've had for certain things. And I like seeing more people getting involved, especially on these boards that are always empty. The juvenile hearing board never seems to have an issue filling. But it's definitely a good feeling to see 2, 3 people here asking for a role.
and let's be honest, some of the issues that we hear about in the schools, and in everyday life. And it's not just juveniles, it's all of us, mental health especially, and I've had that conversation with you, Glenn. As far as I'm concerned, as I said, if we have qualified people, and I believe they're both qualified from different angles, clearly, but very much so. So I would like to see both of them involved. That being said, we do have work to do to move the agenda along. I would like to make a motion to reappoint Ginny DeMasi and Anna Raimondo to the Juvenile Hearing Board tonight.
Moving second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
And we will table or do our homework, again. My intention is that you will both be involved. That's my intention going forward.
Just taking that.
Yeah. Table it.
Make a motion
Great.
to table C and D.
Second.
Moving second.
No,
all in favor?
No.
You're gonna,
I'm sorry, make a motion to table the
Position.
position.
Alternate position.
The third alternate position.
Second.
alternate position.
The third position is an
Alternate
alternate
position.
Second removed twice times, yes. The third position listed in H01.
Second.
Moving second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? What?
Oh, no, so I said,
No.
I said, when we bring it back up, we should just make sure that the verbiage is right, so it's known that it is the alternate position.
Clearly, as I said,
Because again, by that point, somebody else would have the ability to put their name in at this
I
point too.
suppose they would, but, and we'll get the cage out, yes. Thank you both, and I apologize for the confusion and, your patience and we want to get it right. So thank you both for putting on your suits and ties and coming here tonight. I appreciate it.
Thank you once again.
Appreciate it, gentlemen. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
New business, resolution authorizing bid award for gasoline and ultra low sulfur diesel fuel.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Moving seconded, discussion.
Good evening, council. We've had Peterson Oil for the last 10 to 12 years. And so we wanted to go out to bid and see if we could get a better price and we got a good price. They also pulled the bid for Warwick and we actually got a better price than Warwick. It's hard to explain the pricing because it's a revolving clock. So every morning at 10 o'clock, they look at the price and they can go so many cents over Opus. And that's what our price ends up being that day. So to give you an exact price, I can't give you an exact price, but it's good. It's a good setup for us. It's only for a year, so
It's for 1 year.
yes.
Yeah.
So are we locked into where it can't go over a certain amount?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there's a cap, right?
There's a cap. Yeah, there's a cap. I had it on the agenda 2 meetings ago. We had to table it because there was some confusion. But it's all set now. We can start using them and they've been very receptive to everything to this point, so. No complaints as of yet.
So just out of curiosity, it's a mass company. I know more and more, nothing.
To be honest with you, that was the only company that bid.
And I'll be honest, I was out in Tiverton the other day, which was unique. What a unique town that is. And saw a guy having a conversation with him and he's bringing all this fuel with him from Massachusetts. And I'm like, well, we should have that guy right down the road. He goes, yeah, I gotta get 30,000 gallons. He goes, he's 50 cents higher than the guy out of Massachusetts, so. They might not do better in Rhode Island, I'm just gonna point that
Yeah,
out.
okay.
Right, and
The
they
guy was in
actually,
Tiverton, couldn't get it cheaper than had to get it from Massachusetts.
that company owns a bunch of different
Yep,
locations,
okay.
so. And we typically, we get a lot of fuel.
Okay. All right.
So,
I didn't put that, when he told me how many gallons he gets at 50 cents, I'm like, I guess that doesn't.
yeah,
make
we get a
sense.
lot of fuel.
Any questions for Jeff? Hearing none, all in favor?
Hi.
Opposed, ayes have it. I do have to recuse myself
Okay.
from cancellation of taxes. This is the one that was brought up last agenda,
Right.
friendly cap.
Cancellation of taxes in the amount of $197.84 as requested by the tax assessor.
Have a motion?
With the cancellation of taxes.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Should be noted that President Goslin recuses himself.
School building committee update.
So not much has changed in the last 2 weeks. Our RFP, we have 3 RFPs out right now. The first for construction manager at risk that will close on February 5th. RFP for a commissioning agent, which will also close February 5th. And an RFP for a general contractor for the Payan Street project, which will close on February 17th. Our next school building committee will be at 3 p.m. on Wednesday, February 11th. Starting a little bit earlier. It's a very heavy agenda. We'll be discussing some design material and also reviewing the construction manager at risk applications. So we'll continue with those Payan Street specifications, the Maisie Quinn design, and the high school and Horgan designs.
Any questions for Mark? Thank you, Mark.
Right, upcoming appointments. Sewer use board review, appointment to fill a vacancy as an alternate member for a 3-year term. Sewer use board review, appointment to fill a vacancy as a regular member for a 3-year term. Tax assessment board review, appointment to fill a vacancy for a 3-year term. Recreation committee, appointment to fill a vacancy for a 3-year term. Patuxent River Authority, appointment to fill a vacancy for a 3-year term. And juvenile hearing board.
Nothing.
We're
Nothing.
just gonna continue to term it, I guess that's
Gee.
right,
Well, this
exactly. Upcoming town council meetings, February 24th, and March 3rd. public forum.
Any public comment? Hearing none, I need a motion to move
Motion
into
to
executive.
move into executive session.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you. You have a good night.
You too.
Sure.